What's going on, everyone? Rebecca Rouse, Bodybuilding.com coach, here to talk to you about 5 different kettlebell movements you can add to your strength routine today. Some of the things I love most about training with kettlebells is their versatility and their portability. Whatever fitness goals you have, you can probably reach them with kettlebells, and the best part is that you can take them and train with them just about anywhere. So let's dive into our 5 movements for today. First up is the kettlebell goblet squat. Like every other squat you might be doing already, the goblet squat is going to focus primarily on the lower body musculature, the quads, the glutes, and the hamstrings. But due to the unique placement of the kettlebell in the goblet hold position, we're also going to recruit some of the upper body muscles, specifically the upper back, as well as a good amount of core engagement as you hold the kettlebell at chest height while you descend into your squat. Let's check it out. You're going to hold the kettlebell here in the goblet hold right around the height of your chest. You're going to pull yourself down into a deep squat, as deep as your mobility will allow, and then push the ground away from you as you explode back up into your standing position. Some things to keep in mind for your goblet squat. Keep the kettlebell right around chest height the entire time, and think about pulling the handles apart as you descend into your squat, maintaining a long neutral spine. Avoid rounding your shoulders or upper back as you go down, and instead think about pulling your shoulder blades back and down and tucking them into your back pockets. Our second movement is the kettlebell overhead or military press. The military press is primarily an upper body exercise focused specifically on the shoulders, traps, and lats, but when performed standing, it actually becomes a full body exercise if you utilize the lower body and your connection to the ground to produce full body tension from the bottom up. The first step is to clean a kettlebell into the front rack position. Once in the front rack position, you're going to press the kettlebell overhead in a vertical or mostly vertical path into an overhead lockout position. Notice that I have very little movement in the rest of my body from the neck down. I'm keeping a really good brace in my abs, and I'm squeezing my quads and my glutes and everything in the lower body in order to utilize that tension produced from the lower body and use it to press that kettlebell up over my head. As you can see, it is not just a shoulder exercise, but really a full body exercise. Some things to keep in mind for your kettlebell overhead press. First, you do want to keep a neutral position of the wrist on the loaded arm. We do not want to have a broken wrist, as this puts undue stress on the tendons and ligaments in the lower arm. Second, we want to keep the kettlebell as close to the midline as possible as we press from the rack position into the overhead position. Unlike a dumbbell press where we would bring the weight out to the side and then up, with the kettlebell overhead press, we want to go in a vertical direct path from the rack position into the overhead lockout position. Kettlebell overhead presses can be performed with 1 or 2 kettlebells. Our third exercise is the kettlebell farmer's carry. The concept is pretty simple. Pick up your kettlebells and take them for a walk. Keep in mind though that simple does not always mean easy. The kettlebell farmer's carry is a full body exercise focused primarily on the forearms, upper back, and abs. And when performed correctly, it is incredibly effective at building full body strength and stability. And did you know that grip strength is positively correlated to longevity? To perform a kettlebell farmer's carry, you're simply going to deadlift a pair of kettlebells and take them for a walk. Some things to keep in mind for your farmer's carries. First, the farmer's carry is an incredible way to improve your posture if you do them right. How you hold your kettlebells matters. When you pick your kettlebells up, pull your shoulders back and down and think about tucking your shoulder blades into your back pockets. If you do this, your kettlebells should not touch the sides of your body. If you don't do this and you let the kettlebells pull you forward and round your upper back, your kettlebells will hit your legs as you walk, and you are not doing yourself any favors for your posture. So think about this before you start to walk and make sure your kettlebells don't touch the sides of your body. Be mindful of your pace as you're doing your farmer's carries. This is not a speed walking competition, but a stabilization exercise. As you walk, there should be little to no movement in the kettlebells themselves because you are stabilizing them with your lats and your abs as you walk. And lastly, choose a weight that's heavy enough to be challenging, but not so heavy that you can't maintain proper form and posture. If you notice your form start to break down during your carries, simply set the kettlebells down, take a rest, and wait until you're recovered enough to do it again. A different but equally as effective version of the kettlebell carry is the suitcase carry, which is similar to the farmer's carry, except you would be loading one side instead of both. This version of the kettlebell carry is uniquely challenging in that it loads the body unilaterally, causing it to have to stabilize one side at a time. The fourth exercise is the kettlebell Turkish GETUP, and when it comes to movements that give you the most bang for your buck, the Turkish GETUP is tough to beat. The GETUP is a full body exercise that incorporates multiple aspects of fitness: mobility, stability, muscular endurance, and strength. The Turkish GETUP is a sequential movement that starts on the ground and progresses through a series of movements into a standing position and then back down onto the ground. When performing Turkish GETUPs, utilizing proper form is essential. If this is a new movement for you, begin with body weight and add weight as proficiency increases. We want to avoid having broken wrists and bent elbows. If you cannot stabilize the weight overhead with a straight wrist and a locked elbow, the weight's too heavy. When learning Turkish GETUPs, it can be helpful to break the movement down into individual segments and work to master each one individually before putting it all back together. Last but not least, number 5, one of my personal favorites, the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing is a lower body hip dominant exercise that is great for building full body strength, power, and tension. There are a couple different variations of the kettlebell swing, such as the Russian kettlebell swing and the American kettlebell swing. Today we're going to focus specifically on the Russian kettlebell swing. When performed correctly, you'll start with the kettlebell out in front of you on the floor, hike it back between your legs, and then utilize power from the hips to propel the kettlebell forward up to about chest height. You'll want to set yourself up behind the kettlebell approximately the length of one of your feet. Find your hip crease, push your hips back, loading up your hamstrings and glutes, then reach forward, grab the kettlebell, and tilt it towards you. Before you begin, your eyes should be fixed on the low horizon, and then you'll hike the kettlebell back between your legs and snap your hips forward explosively, allowing your hips to propel the bell forward up to chest height. Set the bell back down exactly in the position that you started from. Some things to note for your kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing is a hip dominant movement, meaning that the power is produced by the hips. It is not a squat into a front raise. Another thing to keep in mind with the kettlebell swing is that the top position of the swing should be like a standing plank, and the torso should not extend past vertical. So there you have it. There are 5 different kettlebell movements that you can add to your strength routine right now. As with any strength movement, start light and increase weight with proficiency. And if you have questions or need additional help, don't be afraid to seek the guidance of a coach. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Rebecca Rouse, Bodybuilding.com coach, and stay tuned for more ways that you can build your body.